We are back. It's been like a week. Sorry. I like, oh my God, my cat is already annoying me. He's already annoying me. Ronnie, I need you to get out of here. Ronnie, get out from behind the computer. You're going to electrocute yourself. Hold on. Okay, took care of that. Anyways, so it's been about a week since I uploaded on this channel. Why? I was tired. Got kind of burnt out. But we're back. Daily uploads. Double daily uploads. Except for today. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe not in a while. But we're going to be talking about the results of the San Antonio Regional Championships. Of course, I also competed in this, if you were wondering. Did I do good? Anyways, we're going to talk about the results. If you guys enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications, and shout out to the YouTube channel members. Thank you all for supporting the channel. You know, YouTube ad revenue is low in January, so it helps me out quite a bit when you guys want to support. You get access to the Patreon and members-only Discord server, and also you get to see your name at the beginning of these videos and at the end of my essay videos. Anyways, let's get into it. Oh, gamer subs too, but I'm not going to put that in here. All right, so I can't remember. Actually, I do remember the last time this happened, or maybe it wasn't the last time it happened, but Shiliang Tang and Justin Tang, they ended up being in finals together with the team that they built together. As you can see, barring move order, these are the exact same teams. Now, the last time I believe this happened was at Memphis 2019, when it was Jeremy Rodriguez and Ashton Cox playing the mirror. But pretty significant. And why is this significant? Because this is the first time in a while Calyrex Ice Rider has taken a championship. And also Groudon. I'm beginning to think that the rotating effectiveness of restricteds in this format is a little more pronounced than it was prior to Worlds. I think something happened that has caused the whole cycle of the format where, like, you know, a Pokemon's bad, then it becomes good, then it becomes bad again, then it becomes really good, then it's the best, then it's the worst. That is very pronounced this time around. And, you know, it's kind of early on in Reg G 2.0, but I don't think that's a stretch to say. Because when Calyrex wins and there are two Groudons in top 8 and a Groudon and just literally everything here except for the Cali Shadow was at some point called a fraud. At some point, even here, there's a Kyogre at 10th, another Pokemon that some people might call a fraud. Definitely not Zam, but Zacian at 12th. Terapagos is definitely not, but you see what I mean? Like, there's a lot of like mid-tier restricteds that did very good in this format. It just goes to show how strong Sun is and how strong, you know, this team is most likely into Sun. So, all right, let's get into the actual teams though. All right, so the winning team was not Shiliang's team, it was Justin's team, Team Justin. All right. And as you can see, it's a very balanced Calyrex Ice team. We do see the Tailwind on the Boost Energy Roaring Moon, Knockoff, Acrobatics, Tailwind, Protect. Roaring Moon's been picking up a little bit, especially next to Kyogre, but putting it next to Cali Ice makes sense, as Cali Ice is one of those mid-speed Trick Room Pokemon that can either go fast or go slow, depending on the situation you find yourself in. It also works really well next to Urshifu Rapid Strike with Surging Strikes and Mystic Water, since that booster energy is basically going to allow you to set up a Tailwind for the Urshifu, making it more likely for it to outspeed opposing Pokemon without having to lock into anything with the Choice Scarf, and also allowing for it to run Taunt since you're not Scarfed anymore. That's going to allow you to stop opposing Amoonguss from like sleeping your Cali Ice or anything like that. And then the team just has other like staples of offensive balanced teams. You know, Landorus Eye with the Sheer Force and Life Orb, Protect, Sludge Bomb, Earth Power, Sandsear Storm is pretty standard, and of course Ogerpon Hearthflame with its standard moveset of Follow Me, Horn Leech, Ivy Cudgel, and Spiky Shield, and then Terra Fairy, Calyrex Ice. Now there are a few reasons why you might run Terra Fairy, Calyrex Ice. Calyrex Ice is obviously going to be a Pokemon that is weak to Dark moves, that is weak to Fire moves, that is weak to Steel moves, and while Fairy doesn't help out with the Steel, it certainly helps out with a couple of very important things. You're not going to be weak to Chiyu. Like, Fairy is like that sort of Terra type where you click it because it makes a lot of things neutral into you, not because you're resisting super important things. But a couple of things that this Terra type does let you do is, for one, you're going to be resisting Dark moves. So you don't have to worry about like Urshifu Dark or taking too much damage from like a Knockoff or a Dark Pulse from Chiyu. You don't have to worry about super effective Heat Wave. It's just going to be neutral. And another big one is like Miraidon tends to like to click Draco Meteor into Pokemon that it wants to just one-shot. And like if you want to switch in a Terra Fairy Calyrex Ice on a Draco Meteor, that isn't a bad idea at all. But yeah, this team functions very well. It's funny because you tend to see like coaching on the Urshifu on these sorts of teams, but dropping it for taunt and just making the team a lot more effective into like opposing balance is just like, it's very smart. So I like this. If it were a me team, I'd be running coaching over taunt, but it's not a me team, and that's why they won. That's why they won, because it wasn't me. Same with Shiliang's, obviously. It's the exact same team. So we can go to Dawei. And this is actually one of the cooler teams. She actually ran a really, really interesting Dozo Calyrex team. Usually when you hear about Cali Shadow Dozo, it means it's like Calyrex Shadow with, you know, freaking other hyper offensive options, a Weezing, and Dondozo Tatsugiri. But this one is kind of different. There is actually a strategy from regulation, well, I guess from Reg C and beyond, that involves putting Dondozo with Wave Crash, Yawn Protect, and Fissure next to a Tinglu. And the reason for that is because Dondozo is going to get effectively like an Assault Vest to allow it to eat the special hits that it wouldn't be able to otherwise, while it's able to click Yawn, force things to stay in with a Sand Tomb. They're just kind of like stuck there, and then they go to sleep, and then you can just spam like Ruination, Wave Crash, or like Sand Tomb and Fissure, and it's a very annoying strategy. And I guess in this format, this strategy is like really good into opposing Calyrex Shadow. It's pretty good into Zamazenta, especially if the Tinglu just goes for the Terra Fairy right away. Heavy Slam's gonna hurt, don't get me wrong, but I mean, like, you just have to yawn them. It's not like they can do anything into Dondozo. And of course, if they're not Ghost type, they're forced to stay in because of the Sand Tomb. They can't switch at all. Stealth Rock's also really cool in this format. I mean, when we have Pokemon like Chi-Yu, like Ogerpon, like, you know, Sash Fluttermane running around, and of course Incineroar, making it so you have rocks in the field while you're pressuring things to switch out with Yawn is never going to be a bad idea. That chip damage is going to put more and more things into range of Calyrex Shadow, because Life Orb Calyrex Shadow hits like a truck, don't get me wrong, but it isn't one-shotting everything in the format. So by getting chip damage with the Sand Tomb, with the Stealth Rock, the Yawn pressure, it's going to make it more and more easy for Calyrex Shadow to just get these KOs. Of course, we have the Ogerpon Hearthflame, we have the standard Covert Cloak Whimsicott, and of course we have an Urshifu Dark. Usually, I thought it'd be like an Urshifu Water in this slot, but I guess Urshifu Dark makes sense into this team. It makes it a lot easier to face off against like Trick Room and stuff. Since the team doesn't have Taunt anywhere, Sash Urshifu Dark will just be able to function into like Calyrex Ice a little bit better. And of course, I guess your anti-Trick Room stuff is just clicking Encore into the Trick Room setter with Whimsicott too. So that's pretty smart. But yeah, other things we notice. That one, yeah, Luca Paz's Koraidon team that he did well with in the VR tour, like the first VR tour, I think he got like 2nd or 4th or something. Still strong. I mean, it makes sense that he would lock this in for the tournament. He already got like a really good result in a really big tournament with it. And yeah, I mean, it's just exactly what we saw before. Ogerpon Cornerstone, Terra Electric Raging Bolt, Chi-Yu, Fluttermane with a Booster Energy and Sunny Day, and Clear Amulet, Flame Charge, Terra Fire Koraidon. This is like a standard Sun team up until you see the Ditto. The Ditto is like a tech Pokemon that you do see on Koraidon sometimes. But like I consider it tech just because like it's like a 6th slot, right? And Ditto is like really strong in that Koraidon has more losing matchups into restricteds than you'd be comfortable with. So being able to position Ditto to copy an opposing restricted like a Calyrex Shadow, live like a Astral Barrage or win the speed tie because of Focus Sash. Live in Astral Barrage because of the Focus Sash or win the speed tie, and then revenge kill it with like Astral Barrage yourself is going to be, you know, never a bad idea. Terra Ghost is also really nice since you're not only going to boost the Astral Barrage, which is probably like your number one Pokemon. It's like the number one Pokemon you want to copy, Calyrex Shadow, right? But also like if you Terra Ghost and when you copy like a Zamazenta, you're not only going to get +2 defense because you copy it after the boost and then you get its ability to boost it, but you're going to be able to Terra Ghost and wall them out pretty well. So that is really cool. So yeah. Other things we see, Tanner Mask, of course, running a Calyrex Ice team. Let's see what the moves are on this Urshifu. We do see coaching. Yeah, this is Scarf coaching. I was going to say, this one seems to be more Scarf coaching oriented because you do see like Shenpao and Calyrex Ice and stuff. So I do like that quite a bit. But it's time to look at Groudon. Groudon at 8th place. Let's take a look. This looks very similar to like a Joe Ugarte-esque team. You know, Covert Cloak Jump Off is kind of like a staple of that. Clear Amulet, Precipice Blades, Heat Crash, Stomping Tantrum. There's no way to like boost damage on this team. There's no like Swords Dance on Groudon. There's no coaching. And that just goes to show like the sheer damage output that Sun teams are capable of in the moment. Because Raging Bolt obviously is going to get the Photosynthesis boost, get a special attack boost. Thunderbolt, Thunderclap, Electrode are going to be dealing some pretty significant damage. Ogerpon Hearthflame and Sun when it Terras is just ridiculous because you get that +1 attack from the Terra, but also you're going to be and you don't have to invest much, right? Like the one that won Worlds was 76 attack investment and mostly just bulk and speed oriented. It's ridiculous just how much damage Ogerpon Hearthflame can do because it's in the Sun, because it has that Terra to boost its attack, and because, you know, Terra Fire Ivy Cudgel gets effectively like an adaptability boost. It is absolutely ridiculous. Beyond that, it's just like a good stuffs team. Incineroar, Urshifu. Jumpluff is obviously quite good because you're able to get the speed boost from Chlorophyll and then Tailwind to outspeed literally everything in the format, but also allow your partner Groudon to outspeed things. Sleep Powder, Rage Powder are going to be very effective tools for denying damage from like opposing Calyrex Shadows, Calyrex Ices, and you know, Encore is going to make it so if something decides to protect in front of, let's say, a Fake Out, let's say a Precipice Blades, a Stomping Tantrum, a Heat Crash, it's going to cause them to be locked into Protect, and that's never good. And any setup just gets shut down. Beyond that, I guess we can just take a look at some of the trends in the format. Outside of top 8, I just like to look at trends because I think that's a lot more effective than going into very individual teams. Something that shocked me was there was only one Terapagos, and I like to explain that the reason Terapagos doesn't like have as much representation in Top Cut or like further in tournaments is because it just doesn't have as much representation, period. It is a fine restricted, it's just a very difficult restricted to run comparatively to the other ones, where Pokemon like Kyogre, Calyrex, Zacian, even Koraidon, where they get value is their sheer damage. And Terapagos doesn't have that. Terapagos gets value from its ability to create a pin out of like nowhere. Because obviously Terra Starstorm is going to be super effective against any Pokemon that Terras. It's also going to, you know, when you Terra, turn off all weather and terrain. Let's say you pair it with like a Flutter Mane and you're facing off against an Urshifu. And your Moonblast will one-shot the Urshifu, but wait, they can Terra. But no, actually, if they Terra, they get Terra Starstormed and they die anyways. It's these sorts of things that give it its value. Also, just the very fact that Terapagos' Terra Starstorm is literally unresistible. You cannot resist Terra Starstorm unless, I guess, you're like Terra Shell. I think Terra Shell resists Terra Starstorm, but that's it. So it is like a really cool Pokemon. But yeah, we do see like more or less a standard-ish is this a Calm Mind variant? It looks like a Calm Mind variant. Yeah, we do see Calm Mind Terapagos. We do actually see a Calyrex Shadow Weezing team here. It is basically what you would expect. Hyper Beam Terra Normal is usually what you see on these. Terra Bug, Fake Out, Drain Punch, Heavy Slam, Wild Charge, Order Up, Defensive Order Up actually, and then Body Press. Yeah, this is the team. That's the team that people were scared of, and it just like didn't do much for the past couple of formats. And we just see like standard Chien-Pao and stuff. But other interesting Pokemon that made it far, Brute Bonnet. Brute Bonnet's really cool on Sun. It's able to get a defense boost from the Sun while still having some pretty solid damage output because of its high attack stat. It has Seed Bomb, Spore, Taunt, Rage Powder. It's like a really cool utility Pokemon, especially on Koraidon teams, because you're just able to redirect things. It's awesome, right? Walking Wake on this is also really cool. This is just like a pure dedicated Sun team. I really appreciate what this team's going for. Choice Band Gouging Fire is actually kind of crazy. Because usually you see Howl on these things to help out with like Koraidon, but no, it's just Choice Band. I'm going to hit things. I think if I were to run this team, I would drop Koraidon for like a Groudon, and I feel like it'd be a little stronger, but it is just a solid offensive team. Like there's just no brakes on that. It's all gas, right? See the Lucapaz team again here. King Gambit had a pretty good showing. Chuppa did well with the Sun team. You know what's funny? There wasn't a lot of Chinese Sun. Chinese Sun is like that Gouging Fire stuff. That we saw leading up to the tournament. It's like Gouging Fire, Groudon, etc. Like this is Chinese Sun, right? And yeah, Thunder Punch, Heat Crash, Terrifier, Wide Guard Coaching. It's the Iron Valiant that's crazy on this. I'm glad that we figured out Iron Valiant was strong. I mean, we probably should have known. It was just like kind of hard to find the exact right team for it. But yeah, Gouging Fire having like a resurgence recently is really cool because I felt like it should have been good with Groudon, and like we just couldn't find the team. There was a Lunala that did pretty decent. It's just like standard Trick Room Lunala. Beyond that, it's more or less kind of standard stuff. Aaron Brock did pretty good with Latios. Iron Treads. Gary did pretty good with Iron Treads. And this makes sense. I mean, like, this sort of team, like Terapagos without any, like, terrain control, does kind of struggle versus Miraidon in certain situations. So having an Iron Treads that will basically just always outspeed Miraidon and go for the KO with high horsepower Earthquake is pretty cool, because you're just going to speed boost past it. Zachary, we did pretty good with Venusaur, and yeah, if you're wondering how I did in particular... Oh, also, shout out Timothy. I roomed with Timothy. This team's insane. I'm going to use this in the channel at some point. This team's insane. You got day 2 with it. What was his final record? 7-4. All right, it's 7-4 with this, right? Glacier, Terra Water, Ice Cold Crash, High Horsepower, Taunt, Protect. We had a Light Clay, just full support except for Spirit Break, Grimmsnarl. Eviolite Terra Fairy Rhydon for the Miraidon and I guess Raging Bolt matchup, because it just walls them unless they're Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam, and even then it doesn't like to a KO. Terra Blast, Rock Slide, High Horsepower. We had Rocky Helmet of Moongus, nothing special there. Black Glasses, Moltres Galar standard, but then it's the Eternatus. Eternatus, a Cosmic Power, Recover, Flamethrower, Sludge Bomb. It is so difficult to break through this Eternatus. The only thing I could see making it more difficult is like dropping one of these Pokemon for freaking Rillaboom, and that's it, because then you get like a free Cosmic Power every turn 1. It is insane how hard it is to break this team. I had a good matchup in it. We practiced the night before, and I managed to win, but this guy took sets off of like really good players. I forget who his round 1 was. Oh, who was it? I'm forgetting who his round 1 was. I don't think that this website shows matchups, but he took a round 1 set off of like a crazy player. So yeah. Beyond that, Bastiodon did pretty good. Bastiodon was getting repped at this tournament by a lot of SoCal players. Iron Defense, Covert Cloak, next like Miraidon. It's pretty cool. It's like a budget Zamazenta. And I did not make day 2. I did pretty good though. I got 89th. My resistance is kind of crazy. My resistance was pretty crazy. I went 5-3. This is my team. I ran a Ruination Wochen with, Choice Spikes Terapagos. The whole deal's, Ruination outspeeds Terapagos. You get to cut the HP on Pokemon in half and then just KO with Terra Starstorm. Beyond that, it's just like standard hyper offensive stuff. Choice Scarf Landorus with Terra Ground, Seancir Storm. We have Focus SGU, and of course a Boost Energy, Moonblast, Thunderwave, Flutterman, and AV Iron Hands. Pretty fun team. Really good matchups. Like, it feels like you can beat any restricted, but there was one matchup that was the bane of my existence, and that was of course Miraidon. Me personally, I'm probably going to keep running something similar to this team, but trying to figure out the Miraidon matchup. Because it is practically unwinnable, and a lot of people will be like, but Moxie boosted, why can't you beat Miraidon? You have Iron Hands, you have Terapagos, you have freaking Scarf Landorus. You have to believe me here. We ran this matchup like 60 times in a night, me and MJ, and I won once. The amount of pins that the world's Miraidon team is capable of pulling off versus you, like, encoring you into Fake Out, or just Draco Meteoring you right away and going for Light Screen, and like it's insane how negative that matchup is for me. So we're going to be workshopping it, see if I can build a better Wochen team with Terapagos. And yeah, anyways, that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Check out the memberships, check out the Patreon. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.